What's going on, guys? Here to break down the Monday Night Football Showdown slate. We got the Patriots and we got the Cardinals. This is your first time watching. My name is DK. I do cover content for Draftkings, NBA, NFL, as well as for Prize Picks. If you guys are playing the NBA DFS slate tomorrow, you can check out my video breaking down the 7-game main slate. And if you guys are looking for premium content, you can check out my Patreon. That is linked down below. Been doing very well on Prize Picks, just going 5 for 6 basically every night. But yeah, if you guys want, I have a Prize Picks package. I have DFS packages. So if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comment section or hit me up on Twitter. And the sponsor of the video, guys, is Prize Picks. Again, if you're not familiar, it's a player prop site. You build 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 player props and win up to 25 extra money. It was a really good day in NFL for me today. Went 5 for 6. And again, this is now the third time in a row that I've gone 5 for 6. Tony Pollard, the one that missed, he scored 2 touchdowns on 14 touches. Pain. But yeah, guys, again, make sure to take advantage. It is the code DKDFS, 100% match up to $100. Okay, so taking a look at the Vegas odds for this game, we got a 44 over under. The Patriots are currently 1.5 point favorites. So not a super low total, but not a high total, kind of just in the middle there. We'll start off with New England. So New England, we have no Damian Harris. Jacoby Myers is out as well. So the top 2 guys, pretty easy to talk about. Mac Jones, 9.6K. We know quarterbacks on showdown slates are always pretty safe. Now, Mac Jones doesn't really have any rushing upside, so it's going to all come through the air. And outside of the one game against Minnesota, he's been pretty disappointing this year. So Jones is playable for sure. But I think if I was to prioritize one quarterback, I would give the edge to Kyler Murray, and that's because of his rushing upside, right? Now, Ramondre Stevenson, I think, stands out as one of the best plays of the slate. Only 8.8K. He played all but 1 snap last week. He played 53 of the 54 snaps. Kevin Harris saw 1 snap, and he had 1 carry for -1 yard. So Stevenson we've seen this, the few games that Damian Harris has missed, Stevenson has turned into just like a true bell cow back. He's very involved in the passing game. I think he's one of the best plays of the slate. He's going to be extremely popular, but for good reason. So really like Stevenson there. Okay, now we get to the wide receiver. So this is where it gets a bit tricky. Taking a look at the snaps last week. So Jacoby Myers played. He still played 31 snaps. He got a bit banged up. Devontae Parker played the most. He played 47 of the 54 snaps. Nelson Agholor played 30 of the 54. Kendrick Bourne played 20 of the 54, and Thornton played 21 of the 54. Marcus Jones saw a couple of snaps. So if we just look at it snap-wise, I think the guy I'm the most confident that sees the most snaps is going to be Devontae Parker. Now, he's not been great this year, right? He really hasn't. He had the one big game week 3. Other than that, he's been like, it's not good. But he's 5.8K. He's probably going to be operating as their top wide receiver. So he is definitely playable. Below him, you have Hunter Henry. I think he's pretty safe. Hunter Henry operating as the tight end 1 for this team. Played 47 of the 54 snaps. Out there for mostly passing plays. Had 2 catches on 5 targets. I think he's another solid option in the mid-range. Below that, you have Bourne and Agholor. Bourne is 5.4. Agholor is 5K. Now, if we take a look at the snaps last week, Agholor played 30 snaps. Bourne played 20. So maybe a small lean to Agholor since it's a little bit cheaper and did out-snap Bourne, but like they're both fine. The guy that's the cheapest though is Tyquan Thornton at 1.4, their rookie. Again, he played 21 snaps. So basically what I think is going to happen here is Devontae Parker probably plays the majority of the game, and you get the group of Agholor, Bourne, and Thornton kind of mixing in behind. And factoring in price, assuming they all play similar snaps, I think Thornton would be the best point per dollar play, right? So that's kind of my take on the New England wide receivers, but all 4 of Parker, Bourne, Agholor, and Thornton are definitely viable options. Then you have the Patriots defense. I mean, Cardinals offense has been relatively disappointing this year, so the Pats D is fine. On the road, yeah, they're playable. Kicker, Nick Folk, obviously good value in both formats. The kickers are always safe values in the showdown, and there's not a lot of like viable punt plays on the slate once again. So I do think Nick Folk is a solid value. Below that, you have Juno Smith at 3K. I mean, he's operating as the tight end too. He did only play 17 snaps, though, played on 10 passing plays. So when you have Smith at $3,000 and Henry at 5.6, I would just try to find the extra $2,500 to get to Hunter Henry, who's going to play a lot more and just run more routes. And then if you think something happens to Stevenson, I mean, you can play Kevin Harris. Again, he did have one carry. That was his only snap, though. So that is it for New England. Let's move on to Arizona. So Arizona, injury news-wise, Rondale Moore's the only guy out. Everyone else is in. So Arizona, pretty easy team to talk about. They're playing their main guys, and they're playing them a ton. The only real question mark here is what happens with the wide receiver 3 with Rondale Moore out. I think that's the only thing that is kind of up in the air. Everything else, we know what's going to happen. So DeAndre Hopkins is at the top 11.6, but, I mean, the price makes sense, right? Hopkins, their clear go-to guy, but averaging like 10 targets a game, has massive, massive ceiling. And so, yeah, he's going to play like 100% of snaps. You take a look last week. You saw Hopkins play 48 and 65 snaps. Hollywood Brown played 63 of the 65. I'm not sure why Hopkins, did he get a little bit banged up last week? I'm not sure. But usually he's around 100% of the snaps. So I expect about 100% of snaps for Hopkins and 100% of snaps for Hollywood Brown. So like Hopkins a lot. Again, Kyler Murray, I personally give the edge to him over Mac Jones because of the rushing upside. Right? If you take a look at the last 5 games, 10 carries, 100 yards, 7 carries, 30 yards, 6 carries, 36 yards, 8 carries, 60 yards, 7 carries, 56 yards. He's averaging around like 50 yards on the ground a game. That is an extra 5 points, right? And if he runs one in, that's another 6, right? So that's just why I give the edge to Murray over Mac Jones. But you're also going to get a lot more ownership for Kyler Murray. So if you're factoring in ownership, you can go to Mac Jones over Murray to try to get different and hope that Kyler Murray has a subpar game. And then James Conner, I mean, he played, I think, all but 1 snap, just like Stevenson. He played all but 2 snaps. 63 of the 65 snaps. You had 6 snaps for Keontae Ingram, so played a couple alongside James Conner, and 1 snap for Corey Clement. So Conner, involved in the passing game, going to play close to 100% of snaps. I think he's a good play in both formats. And then as do I think Tyler Brown's a good play. Going to average probably around double-digit targets and is a lot cheaper than DeAndre Hopkins. So I think it's easier to get Tyler Brown than it is Hopkins. I will say probably the ceiling is a little higher in Hopkins than Tyler Brown, but it's not like Tyler Brown doesn't have a ceiling, right? We've seen some big games. Sure, a couple of these games were without Hopkins, but a good amount to like here for the Cardinals offense just because it's condensed. We know where the offense is coming from on this team, right? The only real question is wide receiver 3. So let's talk about that now. No Rondale Moore. Last week, you did see kind of a split between the dust of A.J. Green, played 34 of the 65 snaps, and Dusty Robbie Anderson played 28 of the 65. Now, we did not have Greg Dortch play in that game. Dortch has been out for a couple weeks with that thumb. The last game he played, he had a really good game. 9 catches on 10 targets. That was the game that Rondale Moore was out. So I think you probably get like a mix of A.J. Green and Dortch splitting as the wide receiver 3. And factoring in price, I would rather take the shot on Dortch, who's a good slot wide receiver. So I have some interest in Greg Dortch at 2-2. I would rather play him than A.J. Green or even Robbie Anderson. So if I had to play one, it would be Dortch, but still, again, a little bit uneasy. Like the Cardinals could go a lot of different ways. I guess they could just throw Hollywood Brown in the slot and throw Dusty A.J. Green out wide. So they could do that. That could hurt Dortch's snaps. That's the question mark here, is wide receiver 3 for the Cardinals. All right, let's see. Matt Prater, again, good play in both formats. As I mentioned, there's not a lot of viable punt plays, so like both kickers. Cardinals D at 3.8. I mean, their defense is not great, but playing at home, they're playable, I guess. McBride, the rookie, I think is an interesting value play. He's been really bad, like really not good in a couple games that Zach Ertz has missed, and Zach Ertz is out for the year. But if you go back to college, I mean, Trey McBride, I think he won like an award for best tight end like pass catch. Like, he's great pass catching passes in college. It just hasn't translated in the pros yet. But he's getting the opportunities. That is the thing. Like, he is getting the opportunities. He played 52 of the 65 snaps. So he's out there a ton. Backup tight ends, Max Williams and Steven Anderson, basically is out there for blocking. Max Williams only out there in 3 passing plays. Anderson only out there in 4 passing plays. So McBride is their pass-catching tight end. And 4 and 3 targets over the last couple games. As I mentioned, there's not many punt plays. So I do have interest in McBride. I think he's a bit safer than Dortch. But if you told me that Dortch was going to get a majority of those wide receiver 3 snaps, I would rather play Dortch. I just don't know if the Cardinals are dumb and throw AJ Green out there instead, or like Robbie Anderson. So like I'm more confident in McBride's role. Like he's going to play more. But if you told me Dortch was going to play a majority of wide receiver 3, I would like his ceiling more than McBride's, if that makes sense. And then, I mean, that's basically it. I don't think I mean, Corey Clement played 1 snap. Deontay Ingram, where's Ingram? Where is he? He played 6 snaps, had 2 carries. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically, if you want to look at the backup tight ends, again, Max Williams, I think they're both $200. Max Williams is $200. He has 1 catch this year. And then Anderson, I believe, would be $200 as well. Yep. Both tight ends are $200. And does Anderson? He has 1 catch on the year as well. So, yeah. McBride would be the guy that I feel the best about of those tight ends, obviously. And that's really it. That's everyone I think that is playable on the Showdown. So that's going to wrap up the video, guys. If you have been enjoying the DFS content, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're at, 13.1 thousand subscribers. Kind of crazy to think about. So appreciate all of your guys' support. Really, really do. And I'll see you all in the next video.